Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to do some quick formatting in GIS. You can also watch my other video, though some things have changed. The other thing I'm going to show you is when we've finished with a particular product, a map, or a legend, how to export that out. I think there's some particular things we might want to do once, essentially we're going to be creating ingredients that we can then piece together as we want in Publisher. So you might start, in the regular mode like this, and let's say you've done some formatting already. I'll just go ahead and do bpov for classes. So you might start with something like that. Maybe you'll have roads, whatever else. What I would generally do first when I start formatting is to give my shapefile a name. So I'm going to call this %impoverished. I like to rename them. And the way you do that is just do a one click and then wait for it to give you an opportunity to change the name. The other thing is notice that these percentages are not well formatted. So the way to do that is go to the Symbology tab, and then above where it says Label, click on Label, Format Labels. And instead of numeric, these are percentages. And in this case, the number already actually represents a percentage. Now, if we had ratios, we'd have to do this, but we're fine here. And then on numeric options, put that down to 1. Okay, and hit OK. So then they look a little more like normal percentages. Go ahead and hit OK, and they're cleaned up there. So if you're going to prepare to export this out for a possible ingredient in Publisher, for example, go down there in the bottom left. You can click on the Layout view, or you can go to View, Layout View, and it'll get put in something like this. So let's say you zoom in on sort of the core of the area, and you're not going to be able to get all of El Paso County, so we might want to focus in on something like this. And again, we might have labels in there and things like that, or maybe you don't, right? But let's say you finish formatting this as you want. You always have to be careful what icon you have. I want to maximize this map. Okay. So let's say you're done formatting. What you do then is go to File, Export Map, and then let's go ahead and save them as PNGs. I guess that's the most detailed, and so you would save that as whatever you want to call it, as a PNG, and then you can go and insert that as a picture into Publisher. I suggest maybe doing the maps and the legends separately. So what I'll show you I'm going to do is I'm going to move this actually out of the way, out of the actual layout window, and then I'm going to go to Insert, Legend. And it's already reading the one I have. If you have multiple stuff up, you can either arrow them over or arrow them back to the left. So these are the legend items that you want to appear. Go ahead and next. I usually don't tell it that it's a legend. Most people can figure that out on their own. Go ahead and just click through here. I'm going to maximize to take up as much space here as I can. Now again, I've got this sort of ugly P-pop. How do I get rid of that? Well, with this highlighted, I'm going to right click, go to Properties, and here I need to go to Style down here. In the old video, I think Style is somewhere over here, but it's down here. And you'll notice that each of these shows what happens when you click on them. Well, the best one is usually the third one down on the left. Okay, and hit OK. And you can add a frame. I generally don't because you don't necessarily want that frame getting in the way later on. So I usually hit OK. Again, it's big because when we save it out, we'll be able to shrink it as a picture once it's in Publisher. So it's nice and big now, and that way the resolution is quite clear. So now I'm going to file, export this map. Actually, it's just the legend as a PNG. I'm going to call it PNG legend. I already did this, so I'm going to replace it. Okay. And so now when I go into Publisher, let's say I go to Insert Picture, I can select my PNG and insert it. It's really big, but I can shrink it down, and it keeps a nice resolution. Right? And the other thing you have to learn how to do in Publisher, of course, is how to send something to the back. So you see that up at the top, send things to the back, to bring it to the front, that kind of stuff. Okay. So we might have to tinker with learning how to, crop closely around the the legend in GIS, see if that's possible, so that we don't have so much white space that we have to sort of work around. So that might be something you have to work around in GIS. Maybe instead of a vertical, you select a horizontal layout or something. Just as a follow-up, I went back into GIS, and up here in the toolbar you might see when you're in the layout view this little change layout option, and you can select that. You might have to scroll across. I went to traditional layouts and I found letter landscape, and I hit OK. And then I simply again moved my map off the page, moved all these little pieces off so it was just my legend, and that gives me a lot less sort of empty white space. So now when I file export map and name it PNG leg 2, now I can see if that works better and doesn't leave me with as much dead white space that I have to kind of deal with. So it's a little better rather than the one that had all this empty white space above and below. Okay.